We're back on TYT Sports. It's just me today. Francis is out for the day, I think taking a PTO day, personal time off, but he's been very active on the Twitter because we are going to talk about what happened on Saturday in Charlottesville and the athletes' reaction to that. Before we get into it though, I understand the audience that we have on TYT Sports, and I understand for one, most sports fans don't want their politics in sports. And I know that this does tend to alienate some of you in the comments section. It also leads to debates within the comments section that unfortunately the internet kind of allows. But having said that, if this isn't for you, if you don't want to watch this, if this is something that you're annoyed with this one clip that I'm gonna do, then don't watch it. By all means, that's up to you. And if you have an opinion for the comment section, by all means, leave it down there. I'm not gonna stop you. There's a few things I wanna get into in regards to the athletes' reaction, and once again, what I would call selective outrage over certain things. What you've seen so far, and those who, I guess, don't know what happened on Saturday, a rally turned violent, very violent, on behalf of neo-Nazis and white national terror in America, led to the death of one and many, many injured, including a Nazi plowing a car into a group of innocent protesting civilians. There is way more information on that story in itself and exactly what happened. If you've come to TYT Sports to get it, you're either very late to the party or I'm sure at this point you can find more suitable news sources as to what exactly happened. Check the Young Turks if that's your thing, and if not, by all means, I won't stop you from going to other outlets to find your news. I wanted to start with LeBron James because a lot of people have a problem with LeBron James when he comes out on Twitter and takes a stance politically. I also want to say that I don't think there's anything inherently political about what happened on Saturday. I think it's a very clear definition of right versus wrong. I was talking to Rick before, and there's not a lot of gray area here. You either condemn it or you support it. And a lot of people hate to hear that. So LeBron James comes out and said, it's sad what's going on in Charlottesville. Is this the direction our country is heading? Make America great again, huh? He said that, referring to the president. And LeBron also said, our youth deserves better, flat out. If you have a bigger problem with LeBron James's tweet, then again, what you have a problem with a Nazi plowing a car into a group of people, you really have to take a step back and reorganize your values, because there's only been selective outrage since Twitter's come into existence, and it gives people a free marketplace to talk about what they want, unless like you're Sargon of Akkad or something and they keep banning your account, which for the record, as much as I don't like Sargon's political beliefs, I think he should be able to speak on Twitter, and I agree that anybody should be able to say what they want under certain guidelines of freedom of speech. Chris Long, hate these images. This isn't Charlottesville. The tension will be over soon. Insanely frustrating evolution will favor the self-assured, not man babies and tiki torches or people playing militia. Chris Long is from Charlottesville, currently playing for the Philadelphia Eagles. He's another proponent of speaking out in terms of political stances and showing his support for the likes of guys like Colin Kaepernick. Kyle Martino, my 2 years at UVA were two of the best. Shocked and horrified to see what's happening. Love shall overcome the hate that's trespassing on Charlottesville. There was a few more. Enos Kantar, America only needs one torch. It's bigger and brighter than yours. And he put up a photo of the Statue of Liberty. A very appealing tweet, very nice. James Michael McAdoo said, I thought Virginia is for lovers. Garrett Temple said, for people to wake up. Jeremy Lin said, Charlottesville makes me sick. What world are we living in right now? And Danny Cannell said, these Charlottesville dudes are the lowest scum of our society. Their hate speech is disgusting and vile. It didn't just stop there. So the Detroit right wings, according to a lot of reports, were using an extremely similar logo to the Detroit Red Wings. The difference is if you look inside the tire of the Detroit Red Wings logo, it's more swastika shaped for the Detroit right wings. The Red Wings were very quickly to come out on Twitter on August 12th at 8:48 in the morning. The Detroit Red Wings vehemently disagree with and are not associated in any way with the event taking place today in Charlottesville, Virginia. The Red Wings believe that hockey is for everyone, and we celebrate the great diversity of our fan base and our nation. We are exploring every possible legal action as it pertains to the misuse of our logo in this disturbing demonstration. So good on them. Obviously, that was the thing to do. But what I find amazing is how quickly people will turn against that. So the Red Wings hosted a concert with Kid Rock, and Kid Rock has some strong political statements about where he stands right versus left. He's allowed to have those beliefs, and I don't necessarily think Kid Rock is fueling a problem. So people then go and attack the Red Wings and say, oh, you have a problem with the neo-Nazi rally in Charlottesville, but you have no problem putting on Kid Rock. I think you're missing the point completely if that's your takeaway. And then even worse, and this is one that dug at me a little bit, because Stan Verrett and Jason Whitlock got into a Twitter beef about when using Twitter is appropriate to share your beliefs politically, especially in the world of sports. Jason Whitlock, talking head for Fox Sports 1, Stan Verrett, talking head for ESPN. So there's already your network beef that literally no one gives a flying fuck about. Nobody cares about the ratings war between ESPN and Fox Sports 1 unless you're a 65-year-old man, and that's the only access you have to sports news. I'm not saying what we do here is anything more special or better or produced better. My point being is people go out of their way to hype up these news personalities, especially on Twitter, and their beefs as if it's actually important. So Jason Whitlock, though, who somehow finds a way to contradict every single tweet he posts with the next tweet. It's an almost remarkable talent. You have Jason Whitlock, who thinks that Twitter is made for cyberhumans, but Jason Whitlock adores Twitter, loves the Twitter, and understands the branding and marketing power to get his name out there. So he uses it, but they're not real humans that he's interacting with. He claims that they're cyberhumans. He claims that there's a cyberhuman war caused by Twitter against Colin Kaepernick or for Colin Kaepernick. It's his pinned tweet. Jason Whitlock thinks it's an inconvenience that LeBron James had the N-word sprayed on his garage door, or his outside his front door. So Stan Verrett said, and I'm gonna go through all this, been much more than 140 in terms of the characters. That's what he's talking about on Twitter. You follow me, you know that, but you do you. I have no interest in continuing to go back and forth. Jason Whitlock responded and said, anyone who can speak their conscience in 140 characters is breathtakingly shallow. Kiddie pool, just where Silicon Valley wants black Twitter. Stan Verrett, I speak my conscience in a public forum, a marketplace where people exchange ideas. I don't have anything to gain by posturing. Again, like, nobody's right in this situation here, man. Like, yeah, Twitter technically is a marketplace where people can exchange ideas, but is it a disastrous marketplace the second after incident like Charlottesville happens and you see the worst of the worst come out with some, people make jokes about it. Like, it's bad. And then there's people who pass along information that's newsworthy, but it's up to the consumer to choose between the two. And there used to be a time where, before social media came along, where you took the news for its word and they updated their statements. If they were wrong about something, they would fact check. Now you just don't know, and you end up having an event like Charlottesville, a tragic event like Charlottesville, lead to two sports hosts fighting on social media. Jason Whitlock, you fake posture on Twitter, you read a prompter on TV. Stan, newsflash, you are no part of a revolution. Stan Verrett, this stuff matters, not suitable for fake posturing on TV, but you keep doing what you gotta do to get that check. My decency isn't for sale. Jason Whitlock, Stan, I'll let you virtue signal. It's important to you, not me. I don't see Twitter as a tool to limit racism. It's a tool to promote it. Not technically wrong there, Jason Whitlock. It is, many people use it as a tool to promote racist policies and racist agendas. And Jason Whitlock continues to say, LOL, look how against racism Stan is. He tweeted his disgust, that'll fix it. Stan is a better human being than me. And this is where I thought it got the most contradictory, the most hypocritical of really Whitlock to say in this case. Stan Verrett said, others being more informed than you never stopped you before. Not convenient to call out the racist in this situation, is it? And Whitlock says, I comment on primarily sports and sports-related topics. What's going on in Virginia is a sad tragedy. Others are more informed than me. Well, that's interesting because it seemed like Jason Whitlock had zero problem commenting on LeBron James and the graffiti that was, the racial graffiti that was spray painted on outside his home in Los Angeles. Because again, from Jason Whitlock's perspective, it wasn't racist that happened to LeBron James. It was, in his words, it was an inconvenience because LeBron James is rich and wealthy rich or wealthy or rich athletes in this country, they don't have to deal with racism. It's not the same as somebody else who doesn't come from or hasn't worked themselves and earned that situation. It doesn't affect them as much. And then Jason Whitlock has no problem talking about Colin Kaepernick and cyberhumans. He has no problem talking about, on Fox Sports 1 most recently, like I think Thursday or Friday, that the problem is that black Americans should be boycotting Hollywood. It would do more good because the NFL helps black Americans make their money, right? But this one he has a problem talking about. This is the one on Twitter where he doesn't say anything, because sometimes saying nothing says everything in itself. It's what John Oliver was talking about last night. If you don't have an answer for something, it gives you more than the answer that you need. So I find it amazing that a journalist like Jason Whitlock is claiming that others are more informed than him when he's had no problem in the past being the one to sound super informed about a certain story. And yeah, we know you primarily comment on sports and sports related topics, but it hasn't stopped you before from commenting. So it's just a little bit of a convenience that once again, you're not denouncing what happened besides calling it a sad tragedy. So again, ESPN and Fox Sports at war at the expense of what happened in Charlottesville on Saturday. And this is when it gets complicated, because what am I supposed to do here? Like, it's tough for me to come in, have opinions, and a place to kind of talk about them, albeit being it's small, and talk about just Cristiano Ronaldo's red card and talk just about the big three on Sunday and just leave this story out of it completely. I don't think I'm someone who necessarily pushes a political agenda on the sports audience. I try to toe the line the best of my ability. And I know I'm entitled to my own opinions, just like you guys are entitled to your own opinions. And I understand the alienation it causes within an audience. You want to hear about football, you want to hear about it without necessarily bringing up Colin Kaepernick. I get that. You want to hear about basketball, you want it to come up without it being, the story being LeBron James tweets out against the Charlottesville tragedy that happens. It puts me in a difficult position to not talk about these things when there's for me a need or I feel like I have the need to talk about these things. What happened Saturday was unacceptable, and it's one of the more sad things. I haven't felt that upset about something, seeing a video, in a long time, and there's a clear divide that's been going on for more than just a year. There's been a clear divide, a racial divide in this country for a long time. I'm somebody who comes from a position of a fortunate position compared to many others. I don't take that for granted. I don't try to push that against anybody else. It's just tough when you see these things happen and you know that you're not part of that problem and you want to be able to find a way to solve that problem, but there's what necessarily can we do when it only seems like it's getting worse. So comment below, like, favorite, subscribe to the video. Those who unsubscribe because they didn't want to hear me talk about it, maybe we can bring you in with another video tomorrow that isn't about this. It's about sports, or only sports, or what happens on the field. And you can follow me over at Twitter. You can yell at me on Twitter at JasonRubin91, and we'll see you next time.